What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our first vlog of 2025. I know it's been a while since we've been on here, but we are alive and we are well. Over the holidays, we spent time down in Florida with our families, and from there we made our way north towards Tampa for the 40th annual Tampa RV show. And it was our first time ever at the Tampa RV show, and it was so much fun. It was such a huge show, and we just had a great time. Thank you for everyone who came out and said what's up while we were there. But we are now in Crystal River, Florida, which is the manatee capital of the world, and we're hoping to see some manatees before we head out. So we're gonna try to find them. There are a few spots. There's actually a lot of spots where you can see them. There are, I think, 3 main spots, and we're gonna check out one which is pretty popular. So fingers crossed it's not too popular. Fingers crossed we can see some manatees, but let's go check them out.
The first stop we decided to make is Hunter Springs Park. This park is relatively affordable to visit, so we figured let's start off with this one because some of the other ones are a little bit more expensive. I did already come down by the water and I didn't see anything, and I really think for this specific area you could probably see some manatees if you got in the water. But as you can tell, it's very ripply right now, and because it is kind of cloudy outside, I feel like you just can't really see anything. I haven't seen any noses poke up or anything. Behind me there are some people swimming in there. They just got in, but I'm gonna go ask them if they're able to see anything, because that might be the only way to see them at this park at least. Do you guys see anything in there?
Not at the moment.
No?
There were plenty here yesterday.
Really? Do they come into this area, like in here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
They were literally like right here. They swim. Oh yeah. We were here for hours yesterday. There's some that want to leave you alone. Like you're very docile. You can be around them. But then there were some that are so friendly. Come right up to you, rub against you, roll over for belly rub. So I know you're not supposed to ever interact with them unless they interact with you.
Yeah.
So you just kind of wait, and those who want attention, they want rubs, then yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
They hang out right in here.
Unfortunately, we didn't see any manatees at our first stop, but I did talk to some people in the water that were snorkeling, and they were at the same park yesterday and they saw so many manatees. So hopefully they come back to that park so that they can see them. But we are actually going to move on to another spot and see if hopefully we can see some there. Before we pay for parking, the next spot is King Spring, and you can kind of just walk through and look at it. So I'm gonna see if we see anything before we park here, because if not, there is one other spring in the area. It's the most expensive spring. It's like $20 a person, and I think also parking or something. It's a little bit more expensive, but I think it will be worth it if we don't see anything here. But let's see what we see. So far, I don't see anything. Excuse me? Sorry about that. I actually had a question. Are you supposed to be able to see manatees out here? Is this King Spring? Am I in the right area?
So King Spring is, yeah, this is Kings Bay. This is the bay.
Okay.
And then the spring, King Spring is inside those buoys over there.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can either like paddle to it or get to it by boat.
Okay.
Like often you can see manatees swimming right by from here, but
okay.
like, I mean, you can't guarantee it. It's
of
just
course.
whenever they're swimming around.
I was just informed that King Spring is actually in between all those buoys over there, and there are people swimming, so they might see some. We just weren't really planning on getting in the water today. All right, third time is the charm. We're now at Three Sisters Spring Center, and the parking is across the street, and this is the one I was saying is actually the most expensive. It's $20 a person, so we wanted to try out our other options first, but it has come to this, and hopefully there's manatees here, or else I'll be a little upset.
Cool. You're good. And then, so if you saw on the fee sign, it's $20 per person if you're not a resident of this county, but we saw the person in front of us wave their national park pass, and I was like, hey, what's that do? So here's ours, and basically gets you $5 off per person. So we just saved 10 bucks for having a national park pass, an annual one. It's so worth having one of these. $80 for the year is more than worth it.
Oh my gosh, you guys seeing this? There's so many.
So when we first hit the boardwalk, we were kind of bummed out because we saw like 2 or 3 manatees, maybe 10 total in that first really blue part of the springs. But we started following the boardwalk and we clearly found where the warm water is and where all the manatees like to come to. And so we found, I want to say it's at least 100 manatees hanging out in one spot. And it's just cool to see them kind of resting, I guess I want to say, or like hovering there. But every few minutes, some of them do like lift their head out of the water to take a breath. So fun little fact, manatees breathe every 2 to 4 minutes on average, but they can stay underwater without breathing for around 15 minutes when resting. So I think it's pretty cool. I would like to not breathe for 15 minutes and just kind of have one big breath and hang out, but I guess that's not really an option for humans.
We're making our way back to the car now, but we are gonna pass some more water on our way back. Right now we're on this little trail, so hopefully we'll see even more. But another fun fact about the manatees, I took a picture at the beginning. They're usually 9 to 10 feet long and they average 800 to 1,200 pounds, but they can also actually weigh more than 3,000 pounds. So it's kind of crazy seeing them from the top and just what they look like.
That's like our truck camper.
That's insane when
That's
you think about
literally
how
our
heavy
truck
that is.
camper's weight.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
they're here. So hopefully we see a few more and then we'll get back in the car. We're actually headed north. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute because I think it's gonna be an interesting day. What do you think? You think we're in for an interesting day?
I think we are in for an interesting day.
We're leaving Crystal River now and we're making our way north. Tonight we're stopping in Marianna, Florida. There's something we want to do in the area. But as we were looking at our route, it actually shows that it's supposed to snow today and potentially even tomorrow. We're from Florida, or I'm from Florida. Grayson lived in Florida most of his life, and we have never seen snow in Florida, especially down south where we're from. But I know still, even in the Panhandle and in North Florida, it's not very common. So we're really looking forward to it, but it's also kind of funny because we were planning on doing a warmer winter, and we definitely were not expecting to see snow in Florida. So I think it's gonna be an interesting day.
We have made it to Tallahassee, Florida, which is only an hour away from where we're going for the night. Fun fact, Tallahassee is actually the capital of Florida, but we're not really here for the capital. We're here to go grocery shopping. So we're gonna stop into Costco here, which we just got a membership for, which we're super thankful for. And it's also flurrying outside. It looked like it was raining, and then we stopped moving at a red light, and little like ice balls were falling onto our hood. So pretty cool to see. Fingers crossed it's snowing where we're going, and I'm pretty sure this is a good sign that it will be, but won't know until we get there.
We just got out of Costco and check this out. It is coming down out here. It's kind of super icy, but it's enough that it's sticking. At least on the camper it is. Oh my gosh. Ooh, it's cold out there. The amount of snow coming down right now is absolutely insane. It's literally sticking on the side of the road. I think it's kind of hard to tell, but it is coming down. Like, what the heck? Look at that. We've only been driving for like 30 minutes now. We still have like 45 minutes left, but it's pretty crazy because with this snow and ice and everything, people in Florida are not used to driving with this, and it must be really icy out because we've already seen 2 car accidents. One person ran into like the side of the bridge, so I'm gonna guess the bridge iced over, and then the second one, somebody was totally off the road and flipped over. So a little bit scary. driving. We're going slow. We're going 35 miles an hour and it's 70, and pretty much everyone is around us as well.
Holy smokes. You can't even see the grass anymore.
I know, it's completely covered. As we keep driving, the visibility is getting worse and worse. So we did see that there's a truck stop about 10 minutes away. So our plan is to make it there and get off instead of to keep driving to where we were originally gonna go to. We are at the truck stop and clearly so is everyone else. It's super busy.
Yeah, they're not going back on the highway.
They're not?
No, they're just going around. They're gonna keep plowing this so people can pull in. He's like, man, I know you got a big four-wheel drive and all that, but I would definitely not pull out on the highway.
That's what the trucker said?
Yeah, he said it was pretty bad because he just came off of it. He said it was pretty effed up, were his words. And it really is. It's like white out. When you start driving, even if it's only 20-ish miles an hour, it was probably some of the worst snow I've ever driven in. First of all, I've never driven the dually in snow. Second of all, I really think the FT50 is better. But second of all, yeah, it's just coming. It's really coming down.
Well, what's our little dilemma here?
Our dilemma is we want to run our heater off of electric, and because we don't do propane, you guys know this, and we don't have the diesel heater like we did in our F250, and we don't have enough fuel for our generator to run it. So we might just have to freeze in the camper. No, it'll be fine. We're gonna be perfectly fine. Actually, we're gonna bundle up, run the heat for as long as possible, and hopefully
stay warm all night.
It stays warm, yeah.
Turns out we have a little bit more fuel than expected, so we'll be able to run our heater.
I'm hoping it's like and a half, but it's hard to say. It's been a while since I filled this thing, so I'm not really sure.
We're putting in all of our Reflectix to hopefully trap some of the heat in here, because we did have the heat on this morning, so it's still a lot warmer in here than it is outside. Let's keep it that way.
Our game plan is to cook dinner, get it pretty warm in here, and then turn our heater on, or turn our generator on. We can actually run our heater right off our batteries, but we're trying to keep our batteries from dying. So we might run our heater for a little bit off the batteries till about 50%, then kick the generator on, because that should give us another 6 hours. So safe to say I'm probably gonna be waking up in the middle of the night at some point to turn that generator on, because the heater does run off propane, but obviously we don't have propane, it runs off shore power, but we have no shore power, but we practically have a limited amount of shore power since we have an inverter that can take our battery power and invert it to run our heater and our outlets. So I think it's a pretty solid game plan. Let's make dinner and continue on with it. Man, it's really coming down out there. Snowplow is coming, big trucks coming, generators going. Whew. Time to stay warm in here. Good morning, y'all. It's a cool 28 degrees. Feels like 22. Last night it was 30 at one point, feels like 18. I think it got down to 20, feels like something really cold. But we weren't quite expecting this. heard it was snowing in Florida and we really wanted to experience it. We were expecting like a little dusting, but supposedly 10.3 inches is what we got. It doesn't quite look like it, but I could say it definitely looks like 6 to 8, no problem. I would say more like 8, because it was coming down yesterday. Our steps were like our steps kept getting super packed up, and I had to clear it to go outside. But we were super warm inside, so that's all that matters. So we turned off our heater at around 4 a.m. to save our batteries, and it was fine. When I woke up, it was like 60 inside, so warm enough for us. Super hyped about that. I mean, we knew the heater was great. We love the Aldi system, but being on fully electric and all batteries, we weren't sure how that was gonna work, but it worked out great. So we're gonna try to make our way to town to maybe make breakfast, because I don't really want to get stuck on the highway with every other person that's trying to drive right now later. So it looks pretty icy. We're gonna probably take our time. I see truckers coming in, but I also see people going out. So fingers crossed all is well. We weren't really expecting this, but it's kind of cool actually.
So we were pulling out and it looks like there's a little traffic jam. We have 2 semis in front of us that are not moving, and then this one on the right looks like he probably slept there. Grayson's going to talk with him to see what's going on, but we are on straight up ice, so I'm wondering if just nobody wants to drive yet. Yeah, not really too sure what's going on.
Wow, it's cold out there. So, long story short is, at the front of this ramp going west, which is the way we're going, there's a truck that kind of slid. He didn't really slide bad, but he slid in the way that now he's kind of stuck like this, like he's not flipping or anything. His trailer's just really light. And then as you walk the ramp, there's some trucks waiting up here, and those trucks did the same. Since they're just waiting on this hill, because the ramp is kind of curved, their trucks have started sliding. So there's one truck at the front that needs to get out of the way. They put chains on, and he's trying to get out of the way. There was a truck in the middle that was like this, kind of stuck then. And then there's another truck in front of it that was trying to move, and then he started getting stuck. So, kind of made friends with the trucker guy. We were sitting there talking to the state trooper. He's like, oh, well, if you go east and go 5 miles up the road, you can make a U-turn and go west. So it looks like the trucker that I was talking to, who's going west as well, is gonna attempt that. We walked the ramp, and it looks like people are driving on the road perfectly fine. So 2 of these trucker guys are actually gonna do that. They're gonna go east 5 miles to make the U-turn and come back. We're running on a quarter tank. So I'm gonna see, we got 58 miles to empty. So I'm gonna see how far the closest gas station is going east, and how far it is if I go east then west, if that makes sense. So let's check that out, and then we'll have a game plan as to what we're doing. Alrighty, 6 minutes to the closest fuel and the turnaround, so we'll be able to do 2 things at once.
Yeah, so that way's west, and that's what Grayson was talking about with some of those trucks sliding. And we're going east. There have already been 2 truck drivers that are going. We're just trying to keep space between us in case they slide out or we slide out or anything like that.
But it's straight ice too.
It is straight ice, yes.
It's pretty hard to walk on.
We just got fuel, so we filled up our truck and our generator, so that's really good. Now we're getting back on the highway to continue going west. We had plans to stop in Marianna, Florida to do some Florida caverns. We were really excited about it, but that's definitely going to be closed. So our plan is to just start driving, see how the road is, and then we'll decide when we're going to stop, where we're going to stop, and all that kind of stuff. So wish us luck, fingers crossed, back on the road. yeah, we'll just see how it goes and where we get today. Do you guys see this? There's a guy in a tractor who has a plow on the front. And then there's all this line of people all behind him following the plow.
Gosh. So it might not seem like that big of a deal that there's snow on the ground. Plenty of you probably live in states where it snows. We've been in states where it snows, obviously, and there's ice on the ground and all of that. We've been in like Jacksonville and record snow. We've been in New York and record lake effect storms, but the problem is with Florida and snow is they don't really go well together. So they don't really have the equipment to make sure the roads are clear and safe enough to drive on. As of right now, it's kind of sunny out, so the ice on the road is melting. It's mainly ice because it snowed, and then it kind of just sleeted for the last hour last night, or 2 hours. So all the snow had like a crust of ice on top. So that's why it's such a big deal. And then also, we've never driven this truck in snow, and I can say that it's doing okay in the ice. I definitely prefer the single rear wheel of our F-250, which makes me want to have like super singles and all that, but it's honestly not terrible. It's just a learning pattern or a learning curve. So that's why it's that big of a deal. Otherwise, this is really nothing to most other states, but to Florida, this is huge.
This drive keeps getting crazier and crazier. There are so many semi-trucks off the road and just sliding around everywhere. This is crazy. So there's been a ton of accidents on the highway, so they actually ended up shutting down the highway, and now everyone is on this little side road, and the detour is like an hour long. But there's another accident even on this side road, so we figured it was the perfect time to get out, make a quick lunch, and get back on the road. So that's what we're gonna do. Super muddy and icy and sludgy, but you know what? It's all good. Good thing we don't really have anywhere we need to be at any certain time, so it's really not too big of a deal.
Look at that electrical thing.
Oh my gosh.
Ready? Watch this.
Whoa.
It's gonna be Aldi. Let's see if we can get it off the boxes all at once.
All right, let's finish our drive.
Yeah, let's do it.
Looks like we're moving after
7.5 hours.
7.5 hours.
Could have been 8 actually at this point.
After what was supposed to be a 3.5 hour drive day, it ended up being more like 10 to 12 hours. We had that like 7-8 hour delay, which was absolutely crazy. No one was moving anywhere, and so we did take the opportunity to, every time we could get out and get around a few semis and get back in, we would do that. But honestly, we only ended up moving like a mile within that time. Like we really didn't get far. But we ended up actually going behind a semi, and then we saw the cops were waking everyone up and saying, okay, like the road's open, we can get moving now. So eventually we were able to get moving. Stayed at Walmart last night. We were just like done, ready to be off the road. So we stayed at Walmart. It was great, but it was really cool to be able to experience this Florida snowstorm, even though it was hectic and we were not expecting it and we were not expecting to be stuck for so long. It was still a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So we're glad that we were able to do that and bring you guys along for it. So if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell to be notified when we post next, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for coming.